Hello and everyone, welcome to our Legacy League's post-game show for our first week of playoff action presented by East Coast Garage Door. We had 4 big games tonight. Of course, our top 4 seeds had the bye coming into it, so this was our 5 through 12 for our league. Let's just jump right into it. Our first game of the night on Court 1, BS&B and Kakambas, the Battle of West Haven. Good game, bad game?
It was actually a great game. Kakambas came up on top 47-41. Kakambas really put it to them in the beginning, really jumping out to a good lead, but Blood, Sweat, and Beers really came back with a second half push, tied it up, kept it close, but too much. The Kakambas and Chris Aaron dropping 24, too much for BS&B, unfortunately.
Yeah, Kakambas came out to that big lead like we all saw, and then BS&B started crawling back. And you guys may not remember, but me and Sam last in the summer season, that's all BS&B did. They came back and grinded out even in the postseason against Run TMC, and I thought it was going to be reminiscent of that, but Kakambas down the stretch just took down BS&B.
I was impressed with the Kakambas tonight. I hadn't seen them play before, but it looked like they were able to pull together in the end. And BS&B, when they were making their comeback, that was the OG squad on the court. Lutters, Cody DiLeonardo, John Brole, Austin Kozak, those guys on the court, those are the heart of BS&B, and gotta respect that. Gotta respect their comeback. But Kakambas just too strong in there.
And No Limit. Kakambas play No Limit next weekend. And who knows, that puts a little stress off their shoulders. Without John Rulin playing, who knows, Terrell Vargas, Howie Miller, Ronte Bird will all step up, and hopefully that's a benefit for them during the Kakambas match.
Yeah, and the Kakambas were fairly competitive with No Limit when they played them last week. It actually ended up being a pretty good game.
Yeah.
And after our first night of play, this was our only true upset so far. So the Kakambas the only team that went against the chalk tonight. Moving on, we have Run TMC in one time, the Commissioners Run TMC team. I know he doesn't like to admit it, but that Reggie Stewart is everything for that team.
Everything. Dropped 50 points tonight. It looked like one time might sneak an upset on him, but a strong fourth quarter by Run TMC gave him the win at 111-86. Gotta give Mike Cody a shout out, dropping 41 points for one time. It looked like they were really in it for a while there. Really physical, but Run TMC too fast. It was like a track meet, just back and forth, running around, and eventually one time just tired it out.
Well, they played very well in the last quarter, Run TMC did. But they're going to have to play that style of play the entire time next week against Sportsbook. That's the only way they can knock off the 3 seed. They can't lollygag for 3 quarters and come alive. They need to play all 4 quarters next week.
Yeah, Sportsbook is one of those teams who's a very high energy on the defensive end. They use their rotation very well. They have a lot of depth, good point guard play, good size, good shooters. It's going to be a tough matchup for Run TMC. But like we've said, Reggie Stewart has re-energized this team, and that's a team that can make a push at any point. So I think that's going to be a really interesting matchup for round 2. Moving on, we had the Serial Killers and the Titans. Much closer game than maybe we anticipated before it started.
Yeah, Serial Killers pulled it off 68-44. This was, like you said, was a close game, but Will Hudson with 20 points, Tyron Coward, Adam Samuel pulled this one off. They played a lot better together. They fought off the Eccles brothers, who only had 28, and James Eccles got into foul trouble with 4 fouls in the third, which definitely put a damper on the team. But Serial Killers look to go into the second round against the Brotherhood, who are the defending champions, obviously. They have a huge workload, and they need that win to give them a little confidence going into this next game against the Brotherhood.
Yeah, it's like we said, that Brotherhood team is now through 2 seasons perfect. And that Serial Killers team, that was really a tale of 2 halves. The first half, they went into at the break, they were only up 1, and then they ended up having a 20-point plus victory. So I think that if they want to play competitively with the Brotherhood, they need to see that second half basketball translate, not what they did in the first half. Because, like I said, it was like there was 2 different teams out there. But once the shooters got rolling, Will Hudson got on a roll, Mike Macciola was good, Tyron Coward hit a couple of shots. So even without Adam Samuel tonight, I think that they put on a pretty good effort.
And like when you said Mike Macciola, he facilitates the ball amazingly. You don't really expect that from a 6'3", 6'2" forward, but he passes the ball. He was on top play of the week. No look alley-oop pass. He impresses me on all angles of the floor, and he needs to be essential in this next game against the Brotherhood.
Absolutely. Okay, so our last game of the evening was our 5-12 matchup with Goon Squad and Airballers. And I know before the game started, the Airballers guaranteed a win on Twitter. Would their prophecy come true?
They guaranteed a win. They also guaranteed that Marconi wouldn't have 40. However, Goon Squad won 79-48. Marconi had 30 points, 11 rebounds, and Airballers actually made this close. This was a 50-38 game at half. 12-point deficit, one of the highest scoring halves for the Airballers. And Brandon Cabrera, who knows who he was, he comes into this playoff, I believe first game, and knocks down 19 points. These Airballers were 12 for 43 from behind the arc. They were draining threes left and right, as well as missing a lot of threes.
Yeah.
But it was actually interesting to watch. They were down for 12 points at one time, even 11. So I was impressed with this Airballers team, and hopefully they play next season and gain a little more team chemistry, a little more skill, and actually make it interesting.
I thought it was interesting. I was telling you guys before the game that the Goon Squad should not play around with their ballers. They should play like a practice almost.
Right.
But I don't think they did that. I looked over from court one, and it was a 12-point game in the third quarter. They're going to need to be at their best to play Temptations, who they just lost to last week. Temptations didn't play tonight, so maybe they'll be a little rusty. Goon Squad's going to need to take advantage of that if there's any rust. But at that point, Carmine Santarelli probably not going to have any rust, to be honest. So we'll see.
I think also important to note is that going forward, Matt Del Monte is not going to be around for the Goon Squad, and of course he was incredible tonight. If anyone had a chance to watch the game, check the Snapchat out. He was catching alley-oops, making insane dunks. He is a huge force for that team, both offensively and defensively. So again, that's going to be a tough loss for them when they go against the Temptations, because he's one of their top 3 players on that roster.
But we did see Matt Del Monte not in with the Brotherhood, and they kept it close. Only lost by 5, so maybe that's a little magic
Right
there.
but of course, last week they played Temptations and fell just a little bit short. So maybe they play them again, down another person. We'll see how that translates.
One thing also that I stress is Matt Marconi in a couple interviews before, he always says that they come out slow, and that's exactly what they did against Airballers. And if you're playing Temptations, which is the number 4 seed, second round, you need to come into this game hot, ready to play, defense, and I expect them to be on their feet right at the start of the whistle.
Absolutely. We got to expect a lot from Temptations coming next week. On our past episode 4 of the Weekly Rebound, Carmine Santarelli said he had something in store for us in this coming week. So I have to come and find out what that is. But the loss of Del Monte for Goon Squad, I feel like with this surprise is really going to hurt Goon Squad.
Yeah, so those were all of our games for the evening. Before we wrap this up, I'm just going to go over our next round of matchups. So we're going to have the Brotherhood versus the Serial Killers, Goon Squad versus Temptations. The 5-4 matchup's going to be a great rematch from last week's game. You have No Limit taking on the Kakambas, and Run TMC is going to be playing Sports Look. So they're going to be a good round of games. Obviously, we may have some upsets. Off the top of your heads, are there any games of that slate that we really think might see an upset?
Like you said, Tyler, the Kakambas No Limit game. I think this is going to be an interesting one because, like you said, week 9, they played the second half without John Rulin, and they have to play this whole game without John Rulin. And the Kakambas are going to utilize that to their advantage and come out quick. And they need Chris Aaron, Davin Serpensky, Aaron McAlpine to come out and shoot lights out because No Limit is a tough team without John Rulin.
Do we see any other possible upsets?
Run TMC over Sports Look. I put it in my bracket.
I
I'd
like
like to talk to No Limit for a second because on Twitter today they said I shouldn't be even allowed to make a bracket because I'm never there. I'd like to point out from 300 miles away, I'm the only one standing here with a perfect bracket right now. I thought I'd rub that in a little bit against the current analysts.
I also liked Run TMC too. We saw a couple of the Zacco brothers make some great plays. Joey Zacco gets the rebounds, dishes it to Reggie Stewart because he knows Reggie Stewart is the Terminator for that team. And they need to keep giving the ball to him because honestly, 50 points, more than half their points tonight.
All right, well, of course, we're going to have to check back next week for, actually, no, are we off next week? Tuesday, okay, next Tuesday, again, for a round 2 matchup, so you can see it here. The bracket will be updated on the website, of course, thelegacyleagues.com. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat at legacy_leagues. As always, Tyler, Eric, and Ian. Will, sorry, Eric's not here. Tyler, Will, Ian, and for this special week, of course, we have Joe and Sam. Of course, check out the Weekly Rebound podcast if you want any other inside scoop on the league. And thank you for checking in. Have a good night.